We've started.
Okay. Well, welcome back. So when we last left off, you guys just finished, for lack of a better word, exploring and looting
We killed
this
Grimlock.
forgotten temple. You killed a giant golem made
Golem,
of
yeah.
metal
Yeah,
that
Grimlock.
looked like a lizard mage. So yeah, kind of. I like to
Oh
be
God, I
encouraging.
forgot about that. Al, what? Lizard mage.
Oh God, that's right. That was great.
Anywho, uh, but well, yeah. So I believe you guys now Burnerator, who plays Tom, did a really handy dandy loot list on Google Docs. So we already have everything that you guys collected already. So that's kind of already in inventory, so to speak.
Mhm.
So is there anything else you want to do at this temple, or are you good to just take what you can, the knowledge that you can, maybe mark it on your map for its location, and continue on. Back to the endless
Let's see.
storytellers.
I think
There's
Mila's.
still the magical stick. I probably would like to make sure that my character actually checked the other rooms that he didn't.
All right, I didn't
yeah.
write down that magical stick.
Magical stick. It's a rune staff, an amazing magical item, forged beyond time and space. But yeah, just call it magical.
I was gonna
stick,
say you
whatever.
say that, but what I hear is magical stick.
Okay. All right.
I'm sorry, Inferno.
It's okay. It's fine.
Hey, did anyone bring that pole?
Anyway. Sorry, what did you want to do with the rune staff?
No, I
No,
think he said he wanted to check the other rooms just to be sure.
Oh, the rooms. No, you didn't like the only room that you never really checked was
Down this general area with all these statues and whatnot,
Yep.
and down there. Yeah.
the statues. Well, you saw a glimpse of the statues for sure, but it's 13, which had those two alchemical benches that had a little bit more of. It was a red kind of almost liquid, a gold liquid, and a clear liquid. A few vials of each on that. And then 14, obviously that room was just this big, brilliant colored chamber, multicolored chamber. But it's pretty empty now because it really only held the golem, and it is now on a heap on the floor. So that doesn't really, that's not much.
All right. I guess I'll make sure that I take the alchemicals because my character would be very interested in that.
Okie dokie. All right. I'll tell you exactly how much you got here. Give me a moment to just go into my past session here. So what you have, it's 5 vials of red liquid, 4 vials of gold, and 3 vials of clear. You will have to do some testing to figure out exactly what they do.
Red for gold. And how
Gold.
many for the clear?
3 clear.
3 clear. Got it. I think that'll be it for my character.
Okay.
With it just like he very like happily coming back with like some vials and bottles in the hand, like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready to go now.
I think Al would accompany Patrick just to make sure. Unless like the whole group goes, then either
Mila
way.
will go. I think Mila's right now attached to Tom, so wherever Tom goes, Mila will go.
Are you awake?
Did
Oh,
you
yeah.
wake me up last time?
I wasn't able to last time.
Oh,
We
Okay.
ended before I was able
Well,
to.
we can just rule, do common sense that you do enough to wake her up.
Does that say get the D20 dice? No.
I don't think that's necessary.
All right. Yeah, I'll go with the rest of the group. Strength in numbers and all that. So, come.
All right. So you head back
sorry.
the way you came, past all the the chambers, through that kind of muddy chasm, through that water, back into the mine, and back towards your behemoth. Sure enough, you arrive back to your robotic vehicle without incident. And, of course, Jackie, your robot squirrel, and Hannibal, your young puppy dog, are still there. They're fine. Everything's good. You're able to pack up and start the few days' travel back towards the main road, towards New Laszlo, the town there, in the hopes of meeting up with the Endless Storytellers. You did diverge from them for a few days, and you were hoping to catch up with them again. And in your robot vehicle, you should be able to, without too much of a problem. Now, it will take about 2 days worth of travel. There is one little element I want to bring up. It's a small little roleplay element that I think is important. But, of course, there are always little mundane things or skill checks or whatnot you guys might want to do in the meantime. So I'll open it up for opportunities to do that right now before we dig into the role-playing element, if that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I guess the mundane thing would be, first things first, to make sure I understand what the armor is.
Oh, yes, okay. Now, I already explained the powers of the armor when you first got it because I was too excited. But, yes, you are able to decipher the powers of that golden scale armor that you found in the temple.
I don't know about anybody else, but I'd love to slip in that.
Sure.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, then.
Okay.
Are you gonna? I'll take it off the group list.
Right.
Okay. You're able to put it on. You try it on. It fits on like a second skin. It's incredibly light.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna be
All right.
working at like a bench with just like all this shimmering stuff on him.
All right. Anything else?
I guess to make sure I get the right stats for the armor, and that's about it for the
right
mundane things.
I don't want to say mundane because it sounds boring, but you know what I mean. The non
For the
roleplay
important-
elements.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tom will be trying to either sleep or meditate.
Mila is borrowing a paper from Tom.
I need to get
And-
my ring back from me.
Mila has lost. No, I'm kidding. Mila will give the ring back. as
Mila
soon as Patrick
has
asked for it. Mila
hidden.
probably even forgot it was on her hand.
Okay. So, your armor there, Piff.
Yeah.
It protects you 300 mega damage.
Mhm.
There's a command word to give it a spell called Armor of Ithin, which gives it an additional 100 mega damage per day. So it's like an invisible field, like a magical field that shimmers over top the armor, giving it additional protection. Let me know when you're ready. And there's one other thing.
There it is. Let me just. I should probably note that I have a slightly wounded piece of armor. All right. Is there anybody else who wants to go and say things like they want to do in the meantime?
I just have to tell you one other thing that the armor does.
All right. I think I think I can probably just remember those. All right. Go for it.
Here, I'll just copy and paste it.
All right. Where is everyone else?
They're here.
Guys?
Yeah, we're here.
Oh, there.
Yeah.
They're just being patient.
I'm in Texas.
All my exes live in Texas.
It's true,
Really?
and I am all his exes.
Oh.
Duh.
All right. Anywho, all right. Anything else you guys want to do during the travel? Anything of note, I guess I should say.
No. Al's basically, doing his normal piloting duty type things. He's abnormally quiet, but that's about it.
Are we doing roleplay stuff, or are we just
We're doing
anything?
now. We're doing role play stuff. For sure.
Okay. Mila's gonna go around and give everyone a thank you note for the dungeon. For on Tom's, it's a little note, and it has a picture of Tom on it, and it says, "Thank you for holding my hand." And there's little hearts and a smiley face. Then she hands one to Patrick, and it says, "Thank you for being my light." And it has little Patrick holding the ring out in their light, and she has a smiley face, and there's hearts, and it's cute.
Patrick
And
is
she-
going to immediately hug Mila.
Aww. And then Mila hands one to Al. The same thing. There's little hearts and smiley faces, and it's Al, but it looks like Al has his hand on Mila's head or something. It's just a picture. It's kind of crudely drawn, but you can tell there was effort in it. And it says, "Thank you for stabbing me with a sedative." And there's hearts and smiley faces all over it. And then she hands one to Alicia that says, "Thank you for being my friend." And there's little hearts and smiley faces all on it.
I think Al would look back and forth for a little bit, raise an eyebrow, and then just kind of smile and say thank you.
And Alicia, she's pretty professional. She's pretty all business, that sort of thing. But she takes a look at it, and you can see her give. She smiles pretty widely at once, and she doesn't know exactly what to do. She almost like goes in to hug you, but instead, like her hands just go on your shoulders, and she just kind of gives it a squeeze as a thank you. And she's like, "That's very sweet, Mila. Thank you."
Mila just smiles.
Okay. So, sorry, was there anything else in regards to that little moment?
I am going to hang that up in my room.
Oh, okay.
Aw.
Excellent.
I think Al would keep it on him, as odd as he thinks it is.
It's from Mila, so it's got to be a bit odd.
Yeah,
Definitely.
but it's also from Mila, so it's got to be a bit precious, so.
For sure.
Aww.
I'm gonna fold it up and put it into my journal along with the description of what happened in that cave.
Okay.
You got it. So during dinner that night, you obviously do take breaks for like meals and whatnot. And over dinner that night, everyone kind of. I'm assuming. Is it fair to assume that you guys kind of eat together in the main dining table, main dining
Like
room?
to think so.
Yes.
I would say normally, however, I would say this time I think Al spends a lot more time in the cockpit than probably should. So
Okay.
probably not now, but usually yes.
All right. Mm-hmm.
Tom will go and bother Al until he comes and eats with everybody else.
And if
Okay.
that doesn't work, Mila will follow shortly behind me, like, "Al, come on."
That doesn't work.
It wouldn't take
That's
much
true.
convincing. Just a simple, like, hey, go eat kind of thing, and he would come out.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
So yeah, you stop at the Behemoth for a while to have something to eat, and you guys eat, and Alicia is there, and she's chewing. It looks like she's been thinking, quite a bit, and she finally blurts out. She says, "Listen, I think it's important that we kind of clear the air with, the moment that happened within the temple here. Now." I guess I should explain something. When I was born, I had both my mother and father living with me, and everything was pretty good up until I was 8 years old. My father did die in a bit of a hunting accident, they say, and ever since then, my mother had been. She's changed. She changed. Quite frankly, she was happy, she was carefree, she was compassionate, but when her husband died and when my father died, she changed almost overnight. She became paranoid, she became overprotective, she worried about everything. Around the time when I was, Tom's age, around 15, 16, when I wanted to go out into the world, when I wanted to do my own thing, she would constantly fret at me, tell me about all the dangers, and saying that it would be much safer if I just stayed home and settled down and find a nice boy in our town, and that was it. Not to explore and wander off because I'll probably die or something like that. And it became so oppressive that I had to. And she pauses for a moment and she looks very disturbed, almost like she's about to cry, but she kind of stuffs it back. And she says, I had to do some tough love and just abandon her, for lack of a better word, because if I couldn't fight with her anymore in regards to it, and if I clearly defied her, it would really upset her. So just one night I left her to worry alone. A few years later, she died of a stroke, alone and afraid in her own bed. So when you, and it's not even fair, but when it's the certain things you said, Al, to Tom really just struck that chord, and I know it doesn't come from the same place, but that's why I kind of snapped at you a little bit. Because sometimes people have to make mistakes, and sometimes people don't need to go off with permission. You know what I mean? She says, and she's clearly very awkward over all this.
Al, I think, would be very quiet and then shake his head and say, yes and no. I will be the first to admit that I am sometimes overly cautious and even too willing to be the one to take the danger instead of others. It's the way I am, and maybe I can back off a bit. There is an important thing to point out, though. There is a difference between necessary risks that we all take to achieve our goals and pointless risks that we take that don't help us and simply hurt us. And it is difficult enough for me to know the difference, much less, someone, and he looks at Tom and he says, Tom, you are brilliant. You pick up things so fast and you are so good. The one thing you lack is experience, and the one thing experience can teach you is the difference between a necessary risk and a non-necessary risk. And I will never stop being, and he sighs, adamant about trying to eliminate all unnecessary decisions that could end up getting one of you hurt. I get where you're coming from. I really do. And I understand that I have difficulty not treating you as equals, but allowing you to carry burdens that I would want to carry myself. But it is important that we understand the difference between the necessary ones and the unnecessary ones.
Alicia shrugs and she says, necessary, unnecessary, that's fine. My problem is just the way you speak. That's all.
And Al nods and he says, I understand that I am a bit too...
Scolding?
Yes. Scolding.
That's all it is. Just maybe be a little aware of that is all. Like, we're all fine with advice. We can all help each other out. I mean, that's what teamwork's about, right? But there's a difference between being a member of a team and being like a parental figure, you know, chasing after you, wagging your finger, right? That's all.
I understand. And if we're getting
That's
things,
just where I'm coming from. That's all.
if we're getting things off our chest, then I have something I'd like to say too. I know that your life has been difficult, and I can't even imagine the things you've been through. And I understand that you're a tough girl.
Woman, she corrects you.
But while your constant ribs and insults may be good-natured, imagine a guy who was on top of the world, a well-trained operative, did everything his organization asked, loved his organization, had a best friend, and thought everything was the way it should be. And then the organization asked him to kill his best friend. And he couldn't do it, so he failed the organization he loved. And then they killed his best friend anyway, so he failed his best friend. And then he ran and got new best friends and failed at that because he dragged them through all of his crap. So imagine a man who's failed at pretty much everything that ever mattered. And then imagine what your belittlement and good-natured ribs would do. It may be good-natured to you, but to me it's like a knife.
She's like, oh, I didn't know that, Al, so how about we make agreement? I be a little bit nicer with my words, and you be a little bit more, how about we just agree to both be careful with our words?
That sounds like a plan.
Fair enough?
Fair enough.
And Alicia looks under the table and
Hila's hand is just reaching up to her plate. She looks over at Alicia, just slowly grabbing the food and just putting it in her mouth. Just like, are you guys done?
I think we're done.
Okay, she'll go back to the table then. Making her uncomfortable.
All right. Okay, fair enough. Well, that clears the air. Fair enough. That was really Alicia's objective, so to speak. So, shall we get? I wouldn't mind just time speeding it to the arrival of getting back to the Endless Storytellers, if that's cool with you guys.
Sure.
Sure.
Oh,
I just need to know how much time that would take.
that would take 2 days.
Okay, then I'm full. Okay, that's all I needed to know.
You're full of
Oh, I
sweet
Oh,
ISP.
God, you've been eating dinner
Yes.
for 2 days? Oh, I was going to say.
Oh my god.
No. I've been.
And now we're rolling Tom out the behemoth.
because I was down to about 1/10 of my ISP.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
I think I'm good. Should have checked that.
Okay.
All right.
We're good. We're good to continue.
Well, one thing I would say is, if we're going to fast forward, is there time for us to do, or for me to help Patrick do any experiments to try and figure out like what the staff does and what this or that does? Because there were things that we still don't know about, right?
That's true. Well, I don't know much. I don't know how much assistance in the lore department you can offer.
No, yeah.
But we can. Patrick can give me a couple lore magic rolls, and I can let you know.
The only thing I can just to I guess be helpful and maybe have some notes. I think Al might be able to help out with the alchemy, whatever.
Oh yeah, the
Alchemical?
chemistry stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, the chemistry stuff.
Mainly because he probably has dabbled in that a little bit, but
Okie doke. All right, then.
just-
Yeah, you give me a chemistry roll there, Al.
All right. Hang on a second. I have that. That's a thing that I have. I should
Patrick
look
can
up.
give me a lore magic roll.
All right.
All right. Lore magic. Nope.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, all right. So those 2 days, you do your best to try to figure stuff up, break it down, look through your notes. You're still not 100% sure just yet.
He's very distracted. He's having trouble
No.
concentrating on things.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, so it's near the morning. It's around, we'll say, about 9 o'clock in the morning or so. It is a clear day. Not really a cloud in the sky, actually. Although things have started to cool down very slightly. We're getting near the end of summer here now, so there's just a certain crispness in the air. The trees haven't changed color or anything like that, but the mornings aren't quite as warm as they normally are.
Oh, no.
When you arrive at when you hit the main road and turn on to try and meet the Endless Storytellers, you're actually surprised to notice that the troop isn't on the move. In fact, they seem to have been in camp for at least a day or so, because the entire caravan is in its kind of camping formation, and it looks like they've been fixed into the position for a little while. And as you meet up with the rest of the caravan and put your behemoth back into position, you notice that Moshanji, that is the juggler, the cat-like DB that you met in Parents Post that you haven't really been able to talk to very much. Do you guys remember that?
Yes.
Him?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right. Yeah. It's not quite a Khajiit,
Right.
but fair enough. He approaches you and he fills you in on what happened. He says, I see that you have gotten here in just the right amount of time. I'm afraid a little bit of activity has happened since you've departed." Well, we have come across a few, for lack of a better word, drifters. Turns out some bandits attacked their traveling arrangement, and they themselves were actually in a competing traveling show, but now they are without homes. I believe the name of the traveling show was Coleman's Collections. But since they were attacked a day and a half ago, they are now, for lack of a better word, homeless. But Zoe has negotiated with them and offered them contracts to join with us, so there might be a few new faces. In fact, Zoe has asked us that if we were to see you to perhaps meet with her, she wants to call on perhaps a small favor. So whenever you're settled, you can find Zoe just at the main office trailer. And he kind of just gives a small smile.
Al would thank him and say, we'll see her as soon as we can.
Okay, fair enough. And he kind of just looks around. He just asks, genuinely, I hope your travels have been going well. It's good to see you back.
You-
Everyone just kind of looks
you
at each
laughing?
other.
Milo just smiles.
I'm nodding with just this glimmering thing on his body.
Oh god, he's still wearing the armor.
Yeah.
It's been an interesting voyage.
Yeah, fair enough. I am sure you will have some stories to tell. I look forward to hearing it. I guess you can say I'm just naturally curious. But he bids you a good day and heads back towards the main encampment. So what would you folks like to do now?
Shoot. Very nice. Should we go see Zoe? Or
Yeah,
should we
I
have
think
any
I'm good to go
plans?
see Zoe. Yeah, I think, like you said, we're already kind of parked and in position and stuff, so I don't think there's anything else we need to do.
Is Alicia coming with us?
Yeah, Alicia most certainly
I-
can. She wants to meet up because she has to get back to doing her guard duties for it as well, for the Endless Storytellers, get back on rotation. So, yeah, she'd be coming.
Just because I really don't have the I've noticed that I have less and less time. I'm going to actually try to dump damaged armor off at the wherever that might be.
Okay, fair enough.
Fair.
Yeah.
Okay. The repair bay, for lack of a better word, even though it isn't really a bay. The operator's in charge of that? Sure.
Gosh, I don't
Okay.
remember if I took damage to my armor. No, I'm sure I did, actually. Because
Okay.
Golem.
Golem hit you.
Yeah,
Golem hit you
giant
quite a few
golem.
times.
Inferno, this might sound kind of strange, but do you still have the tokens back in the temple? Because how much damage I took was on that token.
Mm-hmm. I do. I will just take a peek and I'll let you know where you're at.
Thank you.
I deleted the temple. I deleted everything.
God.
What about the stairs that go nowhere?
43.
Thank you. Oh, God. Wow. Okay. Thank you.
Oh, jeez.
So can we drop mine off on the laundry as well?
The laundry?
Yes,
Thank you.
I will get you there.
Same,
I'll get
same
you
with
off
me,
there.
please.
Well, what we'll do is, because a lot of this repairing stuff, I mean, it's a big deal if you're out in the wilderness and you have no one to repair this shit, but since you have the facilities to do so, we can play the rule of common sense and just say that, over the next day or so traveling with them, you'd get it repaired, right? Or you're getting repaired now and it takes blank hours to get it finished before you can use it again.
Mhm.
Fair enough?
Mhm.
Other than us having to do all that micromanaging. Since you don't have to pay for it because you're part of the troop.
Woo.
So you go ahead to meet Zoe, and when you meet her, you'll find that both her and Caleb are in the company of 3 strangers, and they're just kind of collected outside the main office trailer itself. Now, Rachel, I'll actually give you just a brief description of these 2 NPCs and what their role is with the Endless Storytellers, just to kind of give you some sort of context, okay?
Okay.
All right, so the first is Zoe. Her name is Zoe Wedgwood. She's an attractive woman in her mid-40s. She has stark raven black hair down to her shoulders. She has dark eyes, but a pleasant demeanor. She isn't too talkative, but not really antisocial as well. And she is the head manager of the Endless Storytellers. So she deals with the entire business end of things. Right? Another fellow, Caleb Everton, he is human as well. Where Zoe handles the business end of things, Caleb actually handles all the talent. He organizes the acts and screens and coaches people as well. He's in his early 30s. He is brown hair with a bit of a roguish goatee. He dresses extremely well, and you can already tell that he's more than maybe a little vain, so to speak. But these two are pretty much, when it comes to meeting and drafting and signing new people, these are the two like main contacts. Okay. And as for the rest of you, of course you recognize Zoe and Caleb right off the bat, and they notice you and wave you over. But there's 3 other individuals here. The first is a silver-haired man in his mid-50s. He has big, white, shining teeth. His clothes aren't very fancy, but he seems very prim and meticulously groomed, and he, from time to time, sweeps his hair back with a comb. The second individual is a young human man in his mid-20s. He's a little plump, a little on the husky side, but he is relatively receptive. He is wearing kind of these dark blue overalls that you see a lot of mechanics typically wear. And the third character I will leave to Rachel to describe.
Okay. She is not a particularly attractive woman. She has long dark hair and shark teeth and greenish skin and is currently sitting in a wicked sweet rocket wheelchair because she can't walk by herself. And she looks cranky all the time and is probably cranky all the time.
Did you say shark teeth? You did say shark
Yeah,
teeth.
I'm putting in the
Yes.
token right now here. She's going to be next to Tom here.